Hey, what's up, SEO pros? Big news! I recently discovered SEO Nitro, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. In just days, I saw incredible results that blew my mind. With SEO Nitro, you can get links from thousands of different C-block IPs, the most powerful links at a fraction of the cost. Patent software lets you control your entire backlink profile in minutes. Add, remove, and change links at any time. Protect your site from Google's changes with SEO Nitro's revolutionary backlinking software. Imagine having the power to have laser-targeted themed backlinks, automated link spinning, set it and forget it. Thousands of stellar sites and manual and automated posting options. SEO Nitro is the ultimate SEO weapon. Head on to SEONitro.com now to revolutionize your SEO game. Don't miss out on page 1. It's just click away.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show. Hey.
Whoops. Pressed the wrong button. What's up, everyone? Happy Friday, Stefan, my man. Happy Friday, everyone. If you guys are just tuning in, we have George Nguyen coming in, the director of SEO editorial at Wix.com. We'll be talking about the Verge article that we actually didn't really talk about here on what Verge wrote about SEOs. That's what we're talking about. And we'll also be talking about how you can become also an expert SEO editor. Yeah, buddy. All right, if you have not received your copy of the SEO in 2024 book, if you want a copy, shoot me an email at dre@seo.24, dre@seo.video. Shoot me at dre@seo.video for your copy of the free SEO 2024 book by Majestic. I got a few copies left. I'll be doing a run today just to mail that out. Don't be shy, guys. Let me know where you're watching from. Be sure to say hi in the live chat. If you guys want your backlinks, need some backlinks, check out SEONitro.com. I've been using it for quite some time now with some great results. Carol Fry, hello from Seattle, Washington. Kobe says, let's go. Lucy, hello. All right, guys, you're just tuning in. We have George Nguyen coming in from Wix.com, and we'll be talking about the Verge article on SEOs, which we actually haven't really talked about here on the show when it was published. How you can change SEO perceptions with content. We'll also talk about how you can also become an expert SEO editor, just like George. While we wait for him in the back, be sure to say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. If you guys missed last week's episode, be sure to check it out. It was actually a really popular one. I looked at the analytics, and it helps you. If you're looking to get a job as an SEO professional, like Josh Peacock actually covers a lot of things they should be talking about and be working on. Let me just log into LinkedIn just in case George does not see. We got less than 6 more minutes to go. I see a few out there already. Don't be shy, guys. Say hi in the live chat. Again, Again, if you want a copy of the SEO in 2024 book, shoot me an email at dre@seo.video with your address. And I will be able to send that out to you. I have a couple more to mail out. Oh man, Jeremy donating platelets. I'm still watching on my phone. That's hardcore, Jeremy. Oh yeah, I see George in the back. George, can you hear me okay? Oh, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I can hear you too. Love it. Man, that sun has that golden like halo on you. Love it.
Yeah. Is it better this way or should I?
Let's see if it's better this way. It was no. Go back the other way. It was actually awesome the other way. It was an angelic. Man.
All right. Got it.
Take a look. We have George in the back. If you're just tuning in, we'll be talking about how you can become an expert SEO editor just like George. And we'll also be talking about the Verge article that we have not talked about here on the SEO video show. And what we can do about how we can change SEO perceptions with content. George, lovely to see you. Awesome meeting you in person at Brighton SEO.
Yeah, man. Great to finally meet you. Great to be here.
Love it. If you guys are just tuning in, be sure to say hi in the live chat and let me know where you're watching from. We got about 4 more minutes to go before we get started. And so, George, I actually will go over like maybe 4 videos in the very beginning. It takes about 8 minutes. So 8 minutes after the hours when I'll actually introduce you into the show.
No worries. I'm here.
Love it. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, if you can also want a copy of the SEO in 2024 book by Majestic, you can shoot me an email with your address at dre@seo.video. Kenneth says, hi, George and Dre.
Air horns.
There we go.
It's that Friday mood.
Oh yeah, love it. If you guys are looking into upping your backlink game, be sure to check out SEOnitro.com, one of our sponsors for today. Don't forget to check out SEO Spring Training. I mean, conferences are awesome. You meet lots of great people. I met George at Brighton SEO in San Diego. So it's a great place to network, meet a lot of professionals. You know, if you want to start a podcast, you can actually just meet them and just talk to them. Everyone's very friendly. And if you find me, if you find me at the bar, I usually have an open tab, so come see me at the bar. I'll be buying everyone drinks. Ernesto says, yo, what's up, my man? If you guys didn't know, I actually started a new gig. I just got hired as the SEO content strategy over at Stripe. So I'm over at Stripe now. Started this week. Pretty cool stuff going on.
How's
there.
week one?
Week one's
everything
awesome.
you hoped for?
There's so yeah. I mean, it's a beast. The financial industry with everything that they're covering. Man, it's some good stuff. Good stuff. I'm excited to join the team.
Yeah, the regulation must be insane.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, hey, there's tech and there's finance. That sounds like a lot of money. I'm hoping you cash it. I'm hoping everybody in the industry everywhere does well. You know, I want that for everybody. But that's what I thought of when I heard you were at Stripe. I was like, oh, nice. I hope you're raking it in.
Yeah, everyone, and also I cannot put money in your Stripe, guys. I've been getting that joke on LinkedIn a lot. So, yeah, you still gotta earn that, buddy. All right, Stefan says, congrats, Andre. Thank you so much. All right, so we got 1 more minute to go. So, George, I'm going to put you on mute for a real quick second while I get things started here, and then I will introduce you about 8 minutes after the hour.
You got it.
All right. Want to unlock the keys to search engine dominance in 2024? The 5th annual SEO Spring Training Conference returns April 3rd through 7th in Scottsdale, Arizona. Join hundreds of search engine marketers and leaders to get the latest strategies, tactics, and insights to boost your SEO success. Attend over 40 sessions on topics like advanced SEO techniques, AI optimization, local SEO, and more. And actual takeaways from renowned industry professionals leading the way in SEO innovation. And most importantly, connect and build relationships through networking events designed to foster career growth and strong community of marketing peers. Space is limited, so secure your spot today before tickets sell out. Visit SEOspringtraining.com to register.
Yeah. Hey, time to get it started, no delay, let's work. Wanna see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre De Vera, steady dropping knowledge. Over 15 years in the game, so he knows all about it. Master the art of SEO, you will be amazed. Time to get your brand off page to on page. Dropping knowledge, legendary for sure. Whether you're just getting started or self-employed entrepreneur. Yeah, let's go. Subscribe to the SEO video show.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the SEO video show where SEO is alive and fun. My name is Paul Andre De Vera, aka Dre, and I curate SEO videos released within the past week into about 1-minute clips. My favorite part of the show is when I get to introduce my guest, and my guest today is the director of SEO editorial at Wix, George Nguyen. Before we get started, let's say what's up to everyone in chat. I see Logan, Stefan, Fletcher, Ernesto, Kenneth, Jeremy, Carol, Stefan, Kobe. Hello, everyone. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey Dre, why do SEOs love the farmer's market? Lots of organic content.
Google updated the feature of availability of web stories. Web stories no longer appear in Google Images, and the grid view is now a carousel view in search results. I've always wanted to get into web stories, but never really had the time. How many of you are actually taking advantage of Google, this Google SERP feature? Be sure to leave a comment or in the chat or in the comment below. Google is coming out with a new video series explaining 3 stages of Google. Let's check this one out.
Going to explore the 3 main stages of search. Crawling, how Google discovers URLs and explores the internet. Indexing, or the way Google understands what the page is about and its relation to other pages on the internet. And also stores that information in a searchable way. And then finally, serving, or how Google actually serves and ranks results. Then we'll take a look at a results page, break down the components of text results, and take a look at the different attributes you can add to your pages to increase the visibility of your sites. By the end of this How Search Works series, you will be able to explain for yourself what crawling, indexing, and serving all mean in relation to Google search, the way web pages are ranked, and how to influence the way your site's results look like in search.
I bet improving your search results will have something to do with schema. I mean, Google loves schema. If you check out the case studies on the Google Search Central, I mean, it's all about adding schema to your websites. Okay, how to optimize your press release for SEO by Rhode. Let's check this one out.
You want to optimize content for both online visibility and audience relevance. So optimize the content for both search visibility as well as value for your audience. Carefully incorporate 2 to 3 relevant keywords in the headlines and subheadings and body of the text. So this is going to boost your SEO visibility. You want to add optimized anchors and hyperlinks back to your related materials or pages on your website. And you want to include visuals like images, charts, infographics, whenever possible. Audiences love it. Remember, they scan your content. So if you have a captive, engaging visual element, they'll land and dwell on your press release longer. So this not only helps with search rankings, but also positions your company as an expert content resource for media and buyers alike. You want to provide utility through your content. An informed distribution strategy paired with compelling, audience-tailored press releases drives measurable impact.
Press releases have been my go-to for backlinks since I started SEO. I mean, Randy covers a lot of PR optimization in his SEO video show episode. Be sure to check that out. Okay, speaking of press releases, Charles Floate shares his digital PR content S.O.P. Let's check this one out.
Find current and trending topics that we can hijack for our websites or our clients' websites that are going to get traction from journalists, they're going to get clicks in organic search, and they're going to get shown up in Google Discover, so that we can use these to kind of hijack and attract links and traffic for our website. So for this specific case study, I'm going to use X or Twitter for this example. So you go to settings, we're going to go to, first we'll go to explore locations, and we're going to go to our target country. For this one, we're going to go to United States. And it's going to go, and immediately it'll go and reorganize them into the United States. Then I'm going to go and remove trends for you, which is going to remove it here altogether. And very first of all, we're going to come up, and we can see that straight away, this is a topic that we might be able to venture down. So we just want to kind of click into it. And as an example, we're going to say that our client for this digital PR campaign is a sports betting client.
Remember, digital PR and PR syndication are two different things. I mean, there's also other places you can get first. Look for Google Trends, exploding topics. I mean, but always look at trends when you want to actually launch a digital PR campaign, which is a great way to get started. You can, I mean, if you combine both digital PR and PR syndication, I mean, you'll just get so much more SEO juice. To learn more about digital PR, check out my new podcast over at Magic PR. Speaking of podcasts, how can podcasting help with branded search? Let's check this one out.
I actually think that, as I said earlier, podcasting helps develop this know, like, and trust. And Jason, you're way more qualified to talk about the SEO side of things, but I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of backlinks because I'm a guest on a lot of podcasts and have my own show from Google, Amazon, Spotify, every other website on earth, Apple Podcasts, right? Like all these, they link to me, which can be helpful when people do that. Or when people are actually searching for my name, I cover topics, and a lot of hosts, or when I have guests or I do my own solo episodes, blog posts are created around these podcast episodes. So it expands my name much faster by me being on podcasts and having my own show, because I do both sides of the mic. So I believe it helps a lot with branded search. Podcasting does, because again, you're just able to bring it all together on the internet, right? And cover all your different topics and stuff like that.
I highly recommend using Buzzsprout as your podcast host. I mean, I actually use it for all my podcasts. You can syndicate your podcast to get on all the major podcast directories and get like many high quality backlinks that he was referring to, like Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio. So be sure to check that one. Okay, this brings me to my favorite part of the show. Please ask questions on the topic and I will address them in the order that they are received. Before we get started, here is a word from our sponsor. Are you struggling to get high authority backlinks? My buddy Ferry has a perfect solution for you.
How much do you think this digital PR campaign is worth? Wait just 1 minute before you answer. Watch as we hijack the news with Taylor Swift and Barbie to get you the links. Now, we can take this data set from ONS and paste it right into your emails to get you the links. Now, how much do you think this campaign is worth? Don't answer! Wait until you see Bloomberg, BBC, Forbes, top-tier national and regional news outlets, reactive PR, data PR, expert commentary, over 70 team members at your disposal. This product is so hot, I need a fan! And then, listen to what campaigns we do at no extra charge. Gain character wages, bananas and sleep, best dates for dogs, luckiest UK areas, and many more. All for just how much did you guess? 10,000? 20,000? Even more? No! It's just £5,500. That's right. It's $5,500. It's an incredible value, but it's true. It's digital PR from Search Intelligence. Order today. P.O. Box, searchintelligence.co.uk. Accept B2B clients.
George is the director of SEO editorial at Wix, where he manages the Wix SEO Learning Hub. He is an SEO educator who has written and edited hundreds of resources for the industry. He works to improve and publish content from industry thought leaders and push the profession forward through diversity advocacy. He formerly served as editor at Search Engine Land, covering organic and paid search. Please welcome George Nguyen. George, my man, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dre. It's always a shock to remember how much footage of you is available online. And thanks for bringing that front and center.
Oh man, everyone, let's give a round of applause. Yeah, I think there's someone there who's like really young. There's a really young George in there, right?
I mean, dude, it's not that long ago. It's the SEO. It legit is just the SEO. Yeah, it packs on the years. Like I started in this industry not that long ago. I'd say I started in content marketing in 2018, but I started in SEO in 2019. So yeah, but also like I have more facial hair. I just have longer hair. Yeah.
Before we get into your career here, I want to this is the first question I ask all my SEO professionals that come on here. In 1 minute or less, how does George get ranking on page 1 of Google?
Oh man. Well, let's pretend it's not George. Let's pretend it's George's client or someone like that. In 1 minute, just open up your budget, man. Like if you only have this amount of time to understand how this system works, it's not going to work out for you. It sounds like you need results fast. I mean, you still have to run an efficient campaign, but use your paid channels if you need those fast results. SEO takes a long time. 1 minute's not going to cover it for you. Like everything is so different in your vertical. I'm not going to tell you that it depends necessarily, but techniques vary and some are better than others. So yeah, if you got a budget, go with that budget, which is kind of weird to say because I'm the organic guy, right? Everything I do is organic. Yeah.
Love it. First knowledge bomb today. Hold on, let's rewind this real quick. Take us way back. You said when did you first get started into SEO again?
I got started in content marketing actually, and my first client at that agency was WordPress.com, and that's how I kind of got to learn about SEO. But I didn't actually start like reporting on SEO news. My first real job in the actual SEO industry and not just as a content marketer working in that industry was at Search Engine Land in 2019. I started in March there. And yeah, I mean, I was a journalist previously. So this is my third career in marketing. I was a journalist, and before that I was an educator. And I just kind of did the things that I thought were fun to pursue at the time. But, you know, getting out of my 20s, I had to do something that was better for my family aspirations. And so I eventually went into marketing, but I thought like these different career goals that I had, these different careers would never actually get me anywhere. It just felt like, what a shame that 5 years of experience isn't going to translate into this new space. But it can happen. Like that's the crazy thing, is that it all did converge. All those skills did come together. And I feel incredibly blessed that happened. So for the people who are watching this, like none of us are trained SEOs as in like, oh, we went to school for it. That's just not a thing. So yeah, that's you know, whatever background you come from, I love the accessibility of SEO.
Love that. So I mean, so what part of SEO have you actually got you excited about it? I mean, like, I mean, you said you've been talking about paid search, but now you're focusing on the SEO hub over at Wix. I mean, what part of SEO do you like?
I would say that do I actually like SEO is the question. And one of my former bosses has asked me that. And I was like, you know, as a medium, I like that it's supposed to be egalitarian. It's supposed to be relatively fair. There's obviously things that are going to be totally unfair, like your off-page SEO. Like if you're going up against a big brand, even if you have better content and they just have the authority of years and the links, yeah, you're kind of out of luck there. But there's somewhere you can start. You can start with your long tail terms. If you're local, you can go very niche. You can find ways to compete. You can find your market. And that's what I really like. I like the idea specifically with regard to education, which is what I did as a reporter at Search Engine Land, and definitely now as the editor-in-chief of the Wix SEO Learning Hub, producing educational content, that, you know, there are ways that we can teach people to find revenue streams, to make money doing what it is that they want to do instead of maybe adhering to a traditional system. And also, I like the idea of learning for free. I've learned almost everything I know for free. And the thing that I did pay for, my college education, was amongst the least useful things I paid for in terms of education. The experience was really important, and it makes you who you are. But like the education itself is not the big focus there. Like I really want to bring that to everybody. And that's what I love about SEO. Not necessarily like in there reading the reports and finding like, oh, this is underperforming, we need to update this. Like that stuff it's always going to be there.
Yep.
And there's a nice process about it. There's discipline, but at the same time, I like the goal that I'm achieving, particularly with regard to SEO.
Love that, love that. So for those that don't know about the Wix SEO Hub, can you like just share like a brief like summary of like overview of what the hub is about and what can people find there and like all the great information they can find?
Yeah, it's wix.com/SEO/learn, and it is our publication or education first. So we offer educational articles in categories like SEO basics, local SEO. Increasingly, we're moving into e-commerce. You can look at the categories there. I'm not going to list them all out, but we also have webinars once a month that are extremely popular, thousands of registrants. We have the SERP's Up podcast, which is hosted by my colleague, Morty Oberstein, who, if you were here at the top of the show, that was his awful SEO joke. And, like it feels forced when he's reading it, right? But he's literally in meetings saying these jokes. And let me tell you, it is just as forced then as what you saw. But yeah, we do this because you'll notice that when you go through the content, if you're already in SEO, you'll see right away, like there's no CTAs. We're not trying to get you into our funnel. It is education first. And that was something that was really important to me when we set this out. Of course, we want you to like our brand and things like that. So we provide all the education that you need to use our product as well. But most of the content is totally agnostic of platform, and it's written by experts, some of the top experts in our industry. We also have a diversity objective. I'm proud to say that we are amongst the most diverse publishers in the industry. So yeah, come check us out.
Love that. Love that. So for those that actually, you mentioned a bunch of experts on there, and I saw that you do have a bunch of experts. If someone wants to be, part of a writer for the SEO Hub, I mean, what is the process of being a contributor to the, Learning Hub?
Secrets. I'm just saying, it's not a secret, but there is a referral system, right? Like we have no open pitches. Let me tell you why that is. The reason is very good. There is one editor that works on the hub. That editor is me. So contributor selection, everything has to go through me. And I only have so many hours a day. So I do it by referral primarily.
Love that. Love that. Before we go to how you do the SEO editorial and how we can all become better SEO editors, we first chatted about the Verge article, right? About I've actually never talked about the Verge article here on the show. I'm curious, for those that don't know about the Verge article, can you share what the overview of what that Verge article was talking about?
So there's two to be aware of here. And they represent two very different angles, and we can talk about them both. The first one is called the people who ruined the internet.
Yeah, ruined, yep.
Very it's not biased at all, that wording, right? That by Amanda Chicago Lewis, and this was published November 1st, 2023, so quite a while ago. Then more recently, there is, what is the title? This one I have it in is referring to her. Google shapes everything on the web, or I think that's it. It's kind of hard to see what the title is. There we go. How Google perfected the web. There we go. And they take very different approaches. They're kind of about different things, but the way they talk about us as SEOs, there's some overlap here. The people who ruined the internet, in that headline, you have the entire journalistic, I guess, viewpoint of the author, and that continues to flow throughout everywhere. We are referenced, people in this industry are referenced as, quote, content goblins. It very much, as a former journalist myself, it very much seems like somebody had an axe to grind and they did that. And that's kind of the consensus of many of the SEOs who talked about this. It disparages many aspects of our industry. And one of the greater tragedies here is that it puts so much emphasis on the pre-Panda days of Google. So more of the wild, wild west of the internet, when you could more easily manipulate search algorithms, when things were easier to do. The tactics that people used back then, of course, were extremely lucrative, and there's kind of a culture that came around it. There's the way that we even talk about it that fuels this narrative that, well, we're all kind of sleazy people that are out there to make money. The narrative here is that we're out there to make money on your worst impulses. That article on like 10 ways to die in a national park or whatever right before you're going on vacation, that's an SEO thing, right? Like some SEO decided to make that, and that's pretty much what it blames us for. However, there's so much that it reduces, because we create the content that people are actually looking for. And so I guess my beef with this article, and I have a lot, but
share them all.
I don't want to focus on that part. I don't want to focus on that part because none of it's original. None of it's interesting, right? It's about what do we do to not be seen that way? And if we even care to not be seen that way, that's what I'm more concerned with. I think that it's on us. If you're watching this and you do SEO for a living, like that's how you get paid. Maybe you do it for your own website, which is different because that makes you a business owner. But if you're doing it for clients, it's on you to make sure that people understand what you're doing, because the more transparency you have there, the less likely someone is going to bring this up. You're like, oh, SEOs are snake oil salesmen. Like this is what I read on The Verge and I trust them, and this is what they do. That is an incredibly simplistic view of things. And I think that we don't do ourselves any favor. Like it's hard for me to point the way the author wrote it makes me not want to point, like accept any blame on things. It's kind of antagonistic, but then you actually look at the best points the authors makes, even just within the wording that we use to describe ourselves, right? Like some of the things that sort of delegitimize us. Charles Floate said something in your video a little bit earlier. Hijack was the term used in like the first sentence. He's like, oh yeah, we're going to hijack this. Don't use phrasing that relates to piracy. If you want to be seen as, and of course, Charles may not care to be seen as legitimate. Like everybody has their own approach to SEO, right? Some people don't follow the strict confines of Google's guidelines, as ambiguous as they are. But yeah, using words like hijack, that doesn't do us any good. I'm going to call you out on this, Dre. Link juice, man. Don't say that. It makes no sense. Like you get it from a visceral standpoint, but not in a communicative standpoint, right? Link equity conveys a meaning. Yeah, right?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. So one of the ways that we approach this is to, I don't like the idea of buttoning up. I'm a guy who works from home all the time. I am literally in pajama bottoms this instant. I put on this shirt to be on this call. But talking to our stakeholders, talking to people who make the decisions, who need to understand what we're doing, we do need to be a little bit more formal. We need to rise to the level of our marketing peers if we're to be taken seriously as a marketing channel over the long run. Regardless, like ultimately the C-suite's decisions determine whether you're even going to be a channel next year. You always have to keep that in mind. And the other way I would like to approach it is the way I'm already approaching it, by making our best practices transparent. To bring the information to people in a way where you're not scratching your head about like, wait, what does this status code mean? Like to explain things in the content in a way that you can understand for the purpose that you have of doing SEO and understanding it, not as one of Google's like 7,000 page documents or anything like that. By making something easy to understand, we build trust. And guess what? People are still going to pay you to do it, right? I can understand how my electrician works, but I'm still going to pay my electrician. They're like, there's no way I'm going to get deep in there and risk my life or like burning down my house. SEO is a little bit different, right? You might be willing to roll the dice, but nevertheless, I think the vast majority of us only have to gain by being more transparent and being a little bit more better worded, not necessarily formal, better worded about how we communicate what we do.
Love that. Daniel says, well said, George. In my defense, if you're talking to other marketers, even in-house, they love that word juice. They're like, ooh, some SEO juice.
Yeah, they like to say search engine optimized, like SEO optimized too, and I'm like,
then again, they think SEO is also paid search. So I mean, all right. Yeah. So let's okay. Now let's get into the meat of our conversation here of that content you're referring to. let's crafting the content. Like how can we then strike a balance between optimizing for SEO and maintaining the authenticity and richness of content you produce?
I think that sometimes it's straight up not your goal to maintain any authenticity. What your goal is will determine entirely where you fall on this. If you're, hey, it's Daniel. Glad to see you show up, Daniel. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, he was commenting all along. He loves that juice too. He says,
some folks just know how to push your buttons. Thanks for supporting, though. Okay. If you're working in an enterprise, chances are your goal is to get all the traffic. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter as much to anybody except for you doing the work that you have some sort of storytelling. All that stuff is really great, and that's for branding. Mm-hmm. But when you need to get people into the funnel, depending on how your business works, that might be your only goal. For me personally, not having a conversion goal, how do I maintain the idea behind the SEO Hub is that we do good SEO on our own product. We use Wix for the platform, and that we publish good content that ranks well. And we are successful in that. But one of the main challenges here is I do want to show people and myself that I can compete at the top levels. And I do. But then you have to balance that with your editorial goals. Mm-hmm. Right. If you have an audience, they have specific needs. You need to be leveraging your first party data, seeing what does internal site search look like, right? Oh. What are people asking you in your customer support? That I would say are the two largest things that I would focus on. I mean, if you need that bucket of traffic because one of the Verge articles points out it's kind of a chicken and the egg situation where yeah, you can create the stuff. It can be great, but if no one even knows your brand exists, then you're not going to get anywhere. So you do have to have some level of traffic coming in, but it depends on how your business operates. If you're huge on social, then do you really need SEO to get people to that high quality content that you're creating specifically for your audience? The answer is no. Or if you're just incredibly branded, you can create whatever you want to create and just rank through branded searches or have authority that way, right? It depends on the position you're in. If you're fortunate enough to be at a big name domain, you'll outrank just based on that. I remember working at Search Engine Land, writing something, and then being boom, it's there on page one, and just feeling like a Jedi master. I did not earn that at all. But yeah, it really depends on the situation you're in.
Love that. There's some two nuggets in there too, guys. If you guys are looking to find some of the content to serve your visitors, check out the customer support and the internal search. Those are some great ways to get some content ideas. Speaking of even when you first start creating content, I think I heard you talk about creating outlines. Creating some great outlines. I mean, what are some how should if someone wants to write for you or write for Wix, how should they craft an outline for you to kind of take a look at to if it's a great story to write about?
It depends on your relationship. For me, mm-hmm. I do not ask, even though my contributors are experts. Okay. And they definitely know their way around a content brief. They know how to create an outline. I don't tell them to tell me everything because I don't think that's necessary for me. And this is one of the things I feel about editorial in general and SEO moving forward is that every editor that runs a publication, you need your editors to be subject matter experts. You need to be able to read in between the lines, especially if you're working with generative AI. That's just someone needs to know what is being talked about. Yeah. And chances are, if you're the editor, that's you. So develop that subject matter expertise and leverage it to get yourself more money. Your expertise is now top notch, right? It's really valuable. The process is important because of that question that you asked earlier in terms of your SEO goals and your authenticity, your content goals. Sometimes you need things to be approached from a certain angle. And a lot of times when you ask for an outline from somebody or when an agency makes it for you, it's kind of samey. The structure that you find in the top ranking content, the top 10 results, the top 5 results, it might all be the same.
Yep.
Like it might be, for example, I don't know if you played Nintendo Switch. I just bought this. It's Pokemon Sword. Like it might be like, what is Pokemon, right? And what are the Pokemon games? And what are the Pokemon games on Nintendo Switch? And which ones are the new Pokemon, right? Like it might be something like that. And all the content kind of ends up the same. You don't know in that scenario. I'm sorry, 1 second. My cat is attacking me. All right, there you go, buddy. Okay. You don't know how that nuance is going to play out on the server. I'm not interested in making the same exact article, even though a lot of the times best practices, things like that, it is kind of the same content, but you need to find a way to make that different for you to see. I mean, why create something? If you create the exact same thing, you know you're probably not going to do as well. That original thing is out there. So you might as well try to make it another way. And so that outline process is where I learned to do that, where I get to have control over the positioning in terms of the SEO. That's really important for me, whether I want to go long tail or just keep it more head term. The communication that happens there also is more about preventing you both from doing double work later.
Got it.
If you ever have to add in a section after the content is written, depending on how it's written, it can be like pulling teeth. It can be a huge mistake. It can muddle everything up. So the outline process is extremely important. And, you know, it's not something that you can just be like, okay, give me an outline and then accept it. You need to be in there, because if you have a bad foundation, you're going to come out with a bad house. That's simply how it's going to go.
Excellent.
Love that. Okay, let's go into like refining the content. Okay, once you have your I'm curious about how your editing process looks like. I mean, once we have the outline, someone writes something. I mean, like, you know, and particularly in like ensuring SEO strategies enhance rather than like, you know, detract from the actual content quality. Like, what does your process look like?
I will generally ask my writers to provide me with an outline. That's more of a scaling issue that I personally have. I don't have enough time to be doing everything and doing all the research and positioning. I come in after the fact a little bit later, but after they submit, they give me an outline. I accept it. Let's say they submit a draft about a month later. For me, the process is very much editorial first, but like SEO is an incredibly close second consideration. The way the content reads is extremely important because of my brand. Wix has an incredibly strong brand. Things are written a certain way. We definitely pursue active voice everywhere possible. And I have to do things to make sure that that carries out. That's what our users expect. You have some, 200 million website users. You don't want a publication that is suddenly very different than everything else they might have been reading for the last few months or years that they've been on the platform. So I also believe in that just as a way of teaching. How, like I said earlier, how do you make yourself more transparent to the rest of the world, legitimize yourself to your peers by making things understandable? And that active voice is the first thing that has to be there, because that's one of the most understandable ways to communicate. It's common for me to edit to the length of, like, if it's 2,500 words, to have over 400 suggestions. I come from the world of like a publication editing. That was my education. It wasn't for digital marketing. It just so happened that I got a job as a content marketer. And so we've had to come this way with my career. But the process involves not just, making sure it reads well. The structure has to be there. It has to flow correctly. The usage of quotes, citations. One of the more time-consuming things is formatting. How do you get something from, maybe it's literally just a wall of text with a few H2s to something that engages, something that you can skim through, right? And to get it to meet SEO best practices, which is actually not, people see them. I feel like they always are described as two different things. They are not, to me. It is one set of guidelines. Those are your guidelines as a publication. Who cares if they come from two different worlds? They both help you achieve, hopefully, the same thing, which is better user experience, better conversion, better search rankings. Something that takes a super long time is fact checking. I fact check everything.
How do you
That's
fact check?
because I'm hoping,
I'm curious.
as a search reporter, I've already done it.
Okay.
Like as a reporter at Search Engine Land, I already had to fact check everything.
Okay.
So that makes me uniquely positioned to be the editor for an educational publication here, because I know what Google said.
Mm-hmm.
And over time that has changed. We find out more the narrative. Like for years, they're like engagement is not a search ranking factor. And now they're like, well, we do look at click-throughs from time to time. Sometimes kind of hard to tell you how, like it comes out in documentation, right? That context needs to be necessary. Some SEOs will just tell you Google uses click-through rate as an engagement factor for search rankings, but you have to contextualize that further. That's one of like 1,000 signals, right? You're not going to be able to sit there and just click on your own listing and expect that to make a difference. That is the kind of context that you need to add as an editor, so that the people reading it don't just see what they view as an opportunity. They don't see it for what they want to interpret it as, but what you meant for them to read it as. That's incredibly important. But fact checking, like the worst part about fact checking is platforms, like writing about any of the SEO tools, like any workflow that involves a tool, making sure that you can actually do that thing. That's a huge pain. But all of that goes into the content, the written content of the Wix SEO Learning Hub. And I believe that's a huge part of our success, that we don't cut any corners anywhere.
Love that. Love that. Okay. So speaking of fact checking, how about if someone like did a test and they have their first party like data to say like if something works. Let's say like a CTR or whatever, it's like a ranking signal, and they say it works. How, if someone wants to like prove it to you, like how much background information do you need to like, okay, all right, okay, I'll accept this, like it doesn't have to be like CTR or anything, but anything that when someone says like something works and they tested it, that you say, hey, okay,
this is going to be a cop-out answer, but it is the only right answer, right? If you have a study that has good methodology that I've reviewed, clearly shows it works, right? It has worked for you. I might be skeptical, but if you repeat it, you're like, I've done it across this many sites, I'm going to say, that sounds good. All you need to say is provide context. Be like, hey, I've done this, but the vast majority of SEOs, including Google, will tell you what I'm about to tell you doesn't work the way it should. And maybe it shouldn't work that way. In a fair search algorithm, like in a fair ranking system, you wouldn't be able to do this because this is manipulation. Black or white, this is manipulation, right?
Yep.
Hopefully you were talking about something that's less controversial. But then it would be easier to publish, right? Yeah. But hey, if you have something that really works and you're someone that people trust, I'm not going to accept somebody just coming up to me off the street and being like, hey, I got a great article for you, man. Like this data could be made up. But if you can prove it to a reasonable extent, all you have to say is it shouldn't work according to companies and the thought leaders of the industry. All the experts say it shouldn't work, but it did for me. And this is how I did it. You just have to position it in a way that people can understand that and properly contextualize it.
Love it. Positioning, guys, positioning your story there. So I'm curious, like now once you have your great content, how do you make it more engaging and more informing? I know you said like, instead of having just a block of text and H2s and stuff like that, what are some other things that you want to make sure that one of the articles that's published makes it more engaging?
The hardest thing to do and the most important thing to do is to write in a way that your reader just you don't get in the way of the message. Some authors in our industry are really great with using their analogies to do that. But when we're talking about SEO, of course, I don't want you to think that we're always going to be talking about SEO publishing, but whatever you're publishing, right? Yep. If you're able to convey it in a way that resonates with your audience, that's always going to be the most important thing before any other consideration, like, arbitrary images or GIFs or doing anything like that to make it more engaging. The way it is written, the way you deliver that information, it needs to make sense for them. So knowing your audience is at the heart of that. If your audience is, like B2B, super expert level finance industry type stuff, the people who are reading this are familiar with regulations, don't spend any time recapping the regulation, right? This audience doesn't need that. And I try to do that as much as possible. But then there's always like SEO debates of, well, every other article has this section in it, and what if I just skip it, right? That's kind of different. But I would say that is where you need to start, is with your audience. You can't leave them behind. Then, of course, all the regular stuff that you're looking for, images. I mean, I feel like images is almost a problem that we've solved, especially with content that's a little bit more nebulous, that's a little more abstract, because we have generative AI now.
Yeah.
And it is plentiful. And you can have it design anything in any style you want. And you see all of the conference speakers now have their own decks with their own branding. And for some reason, all of their animals are in it. I am so ready to do that too. I have 10 animals in this house. So, but anyway, that's a side story. But yeah, like that's something that we've kind of solved for, making images more plentiful. So if you can get creative with it, that helps engage your audience, where you can add video. Of course, anything I'm going to tell you about, like that part of it, isn't going to be particularly novel. I will say though that people are not looking at their formatting options enough.
Okay.
I've been able to transform content using just bold text, headers, block quotation, bulleted lists, and tables. You can do a lot just with that, and it still keeps your site simple, right? It doesn't overload it. But of course, it depends on your nature. If you're, e-commerce, that might not cut it. You're going to need images. You're going to need maybe some form of interactivity, right? For Amazon, like you can place products on a table to see what they look like in augmented reality, right? You need to keep up with how your industry is delivering this content.
Love that, love that. We actually got our first question in the live audience. And guys, if you do have actually questions, please go ahead and ask them, and I will address them in the order that I receive them. Daniel asks, how do you balance inverted pyramid and taking the audience on an incremental journey?
Yeah, I feel like I need to unpack that question a little bit more. And maybe it's just because my understanding of it, inverted pyramid, is like I'm getting confused with another concept. But I'm gonna take a look at that while we chat about something else, and hopefully get back to you, Daniel.
There you go.
Finally, I'm like, oh, there he goes. Not pulling any punches. Now we got some real stuff from Daniel.
There you go. There you go. All right. So I'm curious. Okay, about your audience. I mean, like you said, like really understanding your audience. Like, how do you tailor like the strategies to specific needs, behaviors, and expectations for a target audience? Like, how do you how do you kind of find that?
Can you say that one more time? I
How do
missed
you
that
tailor
first
your
part
SEO
there,
strategies to specific needs, behaviors, and expectations of your target audience? Like you said, you have to, if you're gonna write for them,
It's my audience,
particularly
it's incredibly easy because they're so vocal. When you work for a CMS and people they don't know how to use that CMS, or they're unhappy with any aspect of it, whether it's your fault or theirs or no one's fault, they will tell you. And so there's a wealth of things that they're curious about. And I think that in an enterprise setting, you also kind of need to balance, like, there's what's your audience like, and everybody has this notion of who their audience is, but your company's notion of who that audience is constantly evolving, especially if your company is growing, right? And that's where the difficulty kind of lies. Are you considering this pre-existing market, or are you considering the next audience? How are you able to bridge that gap? I find that to be a very interesting issue, because when we look at Wix, right? When you thought of Wix, let's say previous to 2022, what type of website owner did you envision, Dre?
Someone that looks for free websites, just like looking, it was like I thought Wix, I mean, back in the days prior to like, it was like something just to get a free website going and just throw something up and possibly, I mean, I'm going to say it, like put up a spam blog or something like that and just like create a bunch of content.
Right. Well, yeah, there's obviously, like, people are always going to manipulate something that's free. I'm not going to speak to that because that's not our target audience. That's not our customer base. Those are just people who use us for their demands. But tons of small business owners is a big thing, right? And so creating that content for them to use a platform fundamentally is huge. But then we also are moving towards more enterprise and agency, and that's a far more advanced audience. So how do you split up that content? For me, I'm targeting new clusters of topics, moving into e-commerce marketing, more agency growth topics, but we also need to prioritize all the basics. And so looking at our data from our own webinar attendees, from people who use that internal site search, that user first perspective, it's pretty easy for me to understand what needs to be covered. And then the other side is more difficult to understand what's going to resonate with this prospective audience. It's hard to bridge that gap. And I think that one of the ways you do it is how Wix has done it over the last few years is, well, we have a website with an educational publication and we have a product, right? We are out there in the industry marketing that. There are boots on the ground. We're at every conference that we need to be at. We're talking to the experts in the industry to show them our product and getting them to use it, getting them to consult on it, to show them that we take it seriously. And that cascade has helped get us, like, it pushes the SEO forward. It means that we're a little bit more trusted. Yep. And I guess that's all kind of part of the content strategy and the prioritization of it.
Yeah, but definitely agree there. I mean, like within the past few years, I mean, like the brands like value and kind of really stepped up their game there. So I want to Daniel, I'll give you a chance to maybe rephrase your question to help George out here. But I want to go into AI before, because we're coming close to time here. But I want to touch upon AI a little bit because I'm curious about, like, you actually kind of.
I think I got Daniel's answer.
Okay.
But feel free to clarify. Right.
Yeah. So,
in terms of content quality and the inverted pyramid, right, the incremental journey, you have to compete with what consumers are now expecting. I feel like that's the basics of it. If you're not willing to give them the answers that they want in the content immediately, and someone else is, you're gonna lose. You're gonna be known for that. I feel like that's, like, you want to take them on this journey. You want to get them into, like, your customer funnel, and everything wants to be buttoned up. You want it to be that digital marketer that you learn about. But dude, the funnel's actually super messy. And I feel like everybody here knows that. Yep. Nobody knows exactly, like, attribution is not a clear thing. But what is clear, for the most part, it's a feeling, is, are you achieving a goal with that landing page, with that piece of content? Right? Are you answering the question? If you're at least answering the question, then you're building some sort of positive connection, as where if you're just trying to market first and everything is within that lens, it becomes more difficult because you feel marketed to. You land on a page, you know when you're being marketed to. Yep. It's another feeling, right? And so that's the way I kind of look at it too. If you can provide the answer immediately, that's what you should do, because everyone else is willing to do it. Pretty much. Yeah.
Love that. All right. So I want to go into AI. I want to touch upon AI a little bit because, obviously it's big. I mean, with the rise of AI content creation, I mean, what do you see as the main challenges for maintaining, like, educational quality in SEO? And, like, I mean, what else? How do you address it with the articles that you receive? Like, can you tell, like, oh man, this is just AI stuff? Like, I mean, I'm curious how you handle AI.
From time to time, I suspect, and then I check. Like, I'll just run it through plagiarism checkers. Okay. But I have not actually run across anything that, I mean, it's always possible, right? You can never say that something wasn't generated by AI, but I'm fairly confident. Also, I have relationships with just about everyone I write with. We have understanding, so there's a lot of trust there. But if you don't have that and you're running a publication, right? Like, are your writers conning you? Is that kind of the question here? Because then there's also the general, like, generative AI for workflow. Which angle are we taking here, Dre?
Let's do the con. Like, I think I would say the con.
It's more fun. Okay. All right. Let's say, like, you have content you suspect it's generated. There are tools out there, but beyond that, one of the things that not every industry is like this, but especially for YMYL industries, double EAT is very important. The content that you're publishing, does it actually need an expert behind it? If the answer is yes, then you just milk that expert. You just give them feedback saying, oh yeah, this is great. I'd like examples from your experience, please. Like, generative AI might come up with something, but you just keep doing that, and eventually your writer's either going to quit or they're going to be not lazy anymore and actually do what it is that you pay them to do, right? But yeah, for me, it's always about, examples. I like examples because it illustrates an analogous situation that someone else might be in. And as an SEO, you should have millions of examples of the task that you're doing in a bunch of situations. It's going to be different for whatever industry, but those examples are not things that generative AI can come up with so easily.
Love that. Love that. All right. I mean, here's a quick, I'll take this last question because we're at time. But I mean, for like at a high level, Nigel asked, like, what content strategy would you do for a local business? Example, a plumber.
I would definitely, like, it's always hard to do like local keyword research. You kind of have to do like general keyword research, but finding out, like, using tools like People Also Asked is I would say a huge thing for you. If you're not looking at that, Nigel, check out alsoasked.com. It's a tool by Mark Williams Cook, and it gives you the data from the Also Asked section. What people are asking about here will be stuff that if it's your client, I'm assuming you're not the plumber, Nigel, but your client should be able to answer all these questions about how things are fixed. It's a pretty basic content strategy, answer the questions that people are curious about in that local area so that they have faith in your expertise. Throw a lead form on there and you should be good. But that's very basic. And you're also like, I don't have any feel for your business model or your locale. If you're multi-location, then things kind of take a turn, but that's how I would get started. That's pretty much bread and butter.
Love that. And you mentioned that the SEO Hub at Wix also has a local portion to it, right? For local SEO, you have a local.
We have a section for local SEO. We have like content strategy, on-site optimization, keyword research, all the main things that you expect. But use the internal site search. It's really great. That'll help you answer the questions that you need answered. And that's one of the better ways to use the hub. Like, while you can peruse, get the question answered. Put my content to the test. Does it actually answer the question? Right? Judge me for what I can do. So check that out.
Love it. Love it. Okay, this is the last question I ask all my SEO professionals before letting them go. If someone wants to get into the SEO game or SEO industry, become an SEO professional themselves, what would your advice be to them?
I would say that it's incredibly useful to understand how everyone else does everything, but you still need to formulate your own opinions. And that while it is an industry that you can definitely just do the work. You can communicate with the client or your boss, keep your head down and do it, right? But you got to be like, you're still going to be subject to things in your career. To have a career in SEO, you need to expand further. You need to make the best out of every opportunity. Like, we talk a lot about conferences and networking. It's not for everybody. It has been incredibly amazing for me in my career. But to find what it is that works for you to get you connections with other people, not just from a what can you do for me perspective, but from a like, who can I talk to if I get laid off? You could be a great SEO. The marketing department could get cut. There might be a recession. Like, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but you need to prepare for those scenarios, especially because we work on the internet. To find a way to connect with other SEOs is incredibly important because you need to get your questions answered. And then, like, subscribe to newsletters, enjoy it, like actually enjoy being part of it. If it's not for you, then it's a little bit tougher. But you can definitely still enjoy the educational aspect and learning as you go and testing. It can appeal to a lot of different types of people. You just got to find out how it works for you. For me, as a really SEO, it's more education and communication, right? And that's how I do it.
Love it. Love it. And for this episode to feel complete for you, any last words, and how can anyone get a hold of you?
You can find me on X or Twitter. My handle is GEOCHINGU. And that's just the first three letters of my first, middle, and last name. People ask me that. But if you are headed over to Brighton SEO in April, or in San Diego in November, or MozCon, I'll probably be there. Drop by the Wix booth. We have free swag. We don't ask for any of your details or private information. You don't even have to talk to me. You can just come up, grab a hat, be nice. We're here for you. Happy to talk to you. If you don't know anyone at these conferences, you know me. And if you need educational content on SEO delivered in the manner I delivered information, essentially here, wix.com/SEO/learn.
Love it. Love it. Everyone, just give a round of applause. All right. George, can you hold on for one quick second? Just hold on for one quick second while I sign off here. All right, guys, that concludes another episode of the SEO Video Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And don't forget to support our sponsors, SEONitro.com and search-intelligence.co.uk. And I will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Hope you come back next week. Make sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss a thing. Hope you learn something new, cause the vibe is incredible. From the special SEO professionals, SEO video show. Let's work. Want to see you be an SEO expert. Paul Andre DeVera helping you step it up. No delay right now. Time to level up. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Woo!